you know what, if I go down to First Reaction MMA, right, I'm going to get busted, I am. Because they're going to think I'm Al-Qaeda. What it was it was actually the typical newspaper mentality I kind of had. Like I said, it's our own jihad.
Yeah.
You know, and it's our... I started quite late. I started competing when I was about 26. The commitment to train and put the hours in, you know, you had to be selfish. If you didn't want to get hurt at that kind of level, you had to be selfish. Molanas were sort of around now. A lot of them, we'd be doing jail time. There wasn't really no salah. Yeah, it was just Quran. That was it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to say I would go in the morning, with the intentions of having fasted. My mum, I just want to tell you, I'm going to Palestine, yeah. The look on her face, was like, what?
Being in the acting industry, being a Muslim in the acting industry, how are you finding it? How are you progressing without necessarily compromising your religion in any way?
There was a scene which I did. I think it was working as a hostage holder, where I was dressing like Taliban style and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, a gunman and...
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back everyone to another episode of Cage Close. You're here with your host Hamza, and we have a very special guest with us here, Shah No Pain Hussain. Just a little bit about Shah, just to introduce him. Shah is one of our coaches here at Blackbeard MMA. He's an ex-professional fighter and currently pursuing an acting career. Shah is also a full-time family man as well. Shah, if you would like to maybe add a little bit about yourself that maybe I missed out, a bit more of a personal touch, who you are, what you do.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum everyone. First of all, thank you for having me here. It's familiar territory, but this is unfamiliar territory at the minute. But yeah, it's great to be here. It's as you rightly said, ex-professional MMA fighter, family man. That sticks out more now than it does and than it has ever done. I'm married. I've got 2 children, and I've got a third on its way. You know, very close to happening. So I'm a 2.8, 2.9 children. I've got.
Are we gonna have to keep your phone nearby just in case? Is it that close? Or?
Yeah, I mean it's not imminent, but it's very close now. So I've got good things to look forward to, inshallah. So like you mentioned a few things. Ex-professional MMA fighter, obviously family man. Now looking at a career in acting. And also, I'm still working the private security industry, doing close protection. So a mixture of a whole host of things.
Very interesting. It's nice to have like a little bit of a variety on your plate, right? Doesn't get boring then.
Oh yeah, I mean the people who know me, they know that I've kind of lived my life by variety. I've always done things that not many people may do. Or pursue, but it's always been something in me, like from day one as a child, to maybe just do whatever everyone else is doing, just be different.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's paid off, sometimes it hasn't, but that's just me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Shah, I'm going to move on to kind of our first theme, our first question.
Sure.
So my understanding from when you were competing before you retired. You were working full-time as well. You had a family that you were supporting and training as well. So professional training for MMA, it's tough. It's like a full-time job in itself. So it's like having 2 full-time jobs, plus you have your commitments with your family and stuff. So how were you managing all these different ventures?
Do you know, it was very difficult. Obviously, when I decided to compete, start fighting, there's a lot of sacrifices in the sense of not being able to spend a lot of time with my family. There was no kids back then because I started quite late. I started competing when I was about 26, so I was a late starter. But the commitment to train and put the hours in, you had to be selfish. If you didn't want to get hurt at that kind of level, you had to be selfish, and I had to be. It's just one of the things in that sport when you compete at a certain level. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it was something which I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the thing of training picking up skills, and then also being able to put that in a competition environment. That was quite important for me. And yeah, like as you said, I had a job. I was working 60 hours a week. I did that for a long, long time while I was training. So it was literally work, 12-hour shifts, Monday to Friday. Leave at 7 o'clock, get to training, train hard, right? And then on my days off, training twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. All my holiday was booked on preparing for fights. I never went away with my family. That's selfish. But that's what you have to do. Fridays I'll take off as holiday or sick until my employers would sort of say, "Sure, there's a pattern here now. You seem to be off every Friday, and you happen to be competing on around about this time," because they all knew what I did. So I couldn't even hide it anymore. So then I kind of my job situation changed a little. I actually started working directly for my employer, and once I started working directly for my employer, I had a lot more flexibility. But unfortunately, it came about around towards the end of my career. Again, what is it a career? That's what I have to question myself on. It was a hobby that took over my life basically, and ended up being a side-by-side career, because I was training, I was competing, I was sponsored, I was going abroad for fight camps. I was doing what the pros do, except I couldn't commit to doing it full time. There was stints of me having done months where I wasn't working and just committed to that, or gone out to Thailand and stayed out there for a while, trying to live that fighter's life. But then obviously when you've got mortgage on your head and bills to pay or whatever, I had to kind of juggle it. So I'm quite happy with what I did, with what I achieved, considering the circumstances. But it wasn't easy at all. It was very difficult. I mean, there's guys that there's guys who fight and have normal careers as well, but it's not the same. Anyone who's a serious fighter, it is not the same. You have to be training like 2-3 times a day, every day, sort of 5-6 days a week, and that one day is your rest day.
All your eggs have to be in that basket.
All
your eggs have to be in that basket.
Of course, yeah, and they were to a degree. It's just I had a job, and if I wanted to train more, I'd call in sick. Right, and if I knew I need to get more training, you'll find if I'm seeing that I'm not keeping up with my training partners, or I'm not on point, I just go off sick, and that. So if that's not commitment, right? And I did that for like 14 years, but you know what? Alhamdulillah, I can't complain. It's been a great journey, and it was just like a roller coaster of a ride, considering all the challenges, the injuries as well. There weren't that many injuries before, but there was a lot more injuries after, which kind of slowed down the pace of me wanting to compete more and more. Having to pull out of fights because of injuries. But all in all, it was tough. But you know what? Hey, I did it.
Yeah. So that's good. So in terms of, you talked a lot about kind of how you felt and how you managed. But what about the pressure that it put on your family? So being away, having to compete, when you're going through a camp as well, psychologically, there's a lot of pressure on you. And you necessarily can't keep a happy face all the time because you're anxious, you're nervous, you're psyched up. So what kind of pressure did it have on your family competing? And was everyone in your household, were they in agreement with what you were doing?
Okay, so first of all, my parents were not, in agreement with me fighting, just like any normal parent would be. My mum and dad were totally against it. They were even more against it when, obviously I was married first time. I was married for sort of 3 years. And that ended in a divorce, and it was one of the main reasons was, not spending enough time at home, And so when I say there's been sacrifices, there's been sacrifices, man.
Yeah.
When it costs you your marriage, that was to my missus from university, and then I married her and it didn't work out, and that when I look back now, I have to put the finger on all that time spent away training constantly, and I expected the other person to understand that. but women being women, not every woman understands, which is totally understandable.
Yeah.
But then moving on, obviously, then I remarried, and my wife, she understood the script from day one, and obviously it's that same pressure in the sense that is this marriage going to go down the same route? But she's a great woman, She understood from day one. I think when we married, she tells me that she was scared because she'd seen my videos and my fights, so she probably thought I was one of those guys who beats women up. but I wasn't, which she was really surprised about. I'm actually a softie at heart. But yeah, so that was another pressure. Is it going to work? But alhamdulillah, I've been married 11 years now, and two and a half kids later, life's good. Yeah. So, but going back to your question, there were pressures there, and no, my family were never happy with it, and So
it was one of those things you had to do more for yourself. There wasn't, you didn't need everyone behind you, and in the bus with you. You were happy to just kind of ride it out solo, but you were still obviously showing commitment to the rest of your family and stuff. But
they came second.
Yeah.
MMA was like first. There was no social time with family, or even if there was social time, I'd be sat there just eating meat with lettuce. At birthday parties when there's cream cake and desserts and whatever, it's fizzy drinks, and I'm stick thin because I've got a weigh-in in 2 weeks, and that's the crucial time. I cannot be eating anything. For 3 months, I've practically starved myself, right, to get down to 70 kilos, which used to take about 2.5, 3 months to get down from 90 kilos.
Yeah.
It's the pressures were always there. But again, like you said, it wasn't something which is easy. It was very difficult to get that balance. I didn't get a balance because it was just that when you want to compete at that level, you have to be selfish, and that's the only way you're going to make it to the top. If you don't have your family support behind you, it makes it even more difficult. That's it. And I chose the route of doing it that way. And is there any regrets? Maybe. But you know what? I have no regrets, really.
Yeah.
Maybe that's...
it's a good way to live.
Yeah. This is it. Yeah.
When you're comparing, for example, your career and the way your life kind of played out, and maybe you compare it to someone like a counterpart, like a training partner, and someone else who is kind of going down the same path as you. Did you see any kind of differences in and I want you to specifically look at the people that had cultural differences to you. So obviously you come from a Pakistani background.
Yes.
Do you think it had anything to do with our kind of cultural environment in our households that meant that the family was not getting behind you 100%? And did you see that maybe for another person, their family was supporting them, and how that kind of changed, or how their kind of career differed to yours?
I mean, straight away to my mind, there's my teammates who I was training with at the time, like Charlie Leary, for example. He's done very well. He was fighting for Brave Combat Federation, and then now he's a Bellator fighter, and he's done really, really well. But like with Charlie, I think he was working part-time. And his commitment was he was doing nights part-time, but then it was all about training. So I'm sure he could have decided to get himself a job and whatever, but his circumstances allowed him to do that. My circumstances didn't allow me to do that. And it wasn't necessarily down to, I think that's down to what people's situations are, in the sense that I needed the income coming. I couldn't rely on just MMA, getting paid every maybe 3 months or whatever. If I fought more often, that's different. But remember, I took it as a hobby, and it kind of took over my life. Yeah. There's some people who think, maybe I'm gonna become a pro fighter, full-time fighter, and their way of tackling things will be a lot different to mine. So again, I'm only using Charlie as an example because I remember he could train more. But his circumstances were different. Mine were different. I could not rely on doing that because like I said, I was married first time. There's mortgages to pay and bills to pay and whatever. So I couldn't wait until I got paid to fight, and then it wouldn't have worked with my setup. It wouldn't have. Plus, you talk about the cultural side of things. Yes, you know, that was already there. That was there from day one. It wasn't like, you know, it's never been there. So, you know, my mum is still worried, you know, she's still not sleeping, she's still got my friends' phone numbers, right, at whatever age I was, saying, call us please, when, you know, if you hear anything, let us know.
Yeah.
And, you know, my friend, like Zubair, who you know, he, poor guy, he'd have to make that call, you know, yeah, auntie, he's all right, he's not hurt, or it didn't go his way, right, or it did go his way, and, you know, so, just that thing at the back of your head, but it's not something like which affected me because I'd made my decision. I'd chosen my path, which, you know, where I wanted to go. It wasn't like these hurdles kept coming up. Yes, you know, your mum gets upset. Oh, when you fighting next? Oh, I'm fighting here, mum. She's not exactly jumping around with joy.
Yeah.
She's glad and happy that you've come back in one piece. The nights I'd drive back and I wouldn't speak to her. She knows that either I've lost a fight, okay, or I'll speak to her on the phone, but she'd say, I want to see you. Because she wants to see if physically her son is like not mangled up too much.
Yeah.
And when she sees, but luckily for me, you know, thank God, you know, I've got good skin, so I wouldn't cut that easily. If there's bumps and bruises, but I could deal with that. And she'd be assessing me like a doctor afterwards. But you know what? That's just your mum for you. Yeah, your mum's. You're never going to be. It's
not going to change.
Yeah, of course. Some things never change. But yeah, some people could train. And their circumstances were different. Mine weren't, so I had to have a full-time job while I was competing and training and whatever. And later on, though, I had a lot more flexibility because I started working directly for my employers, and things became a lot more easier. I had more flexibility, but unfortunately, by then I had moved on, and I was actually looking to kind of finish up anyway.
Yeah. So Shah, I want to change the flavour a little bit. So we've talked about kind of your MMA career, how your family. But I want to talk, and you kind of your relationship with your family, your wife, your mum. I want to talk about your relationship with God, your relationship with Allah. So could you tell me a little bit about your spiritual and religious journey over the course of your life? Kind of what kind of place you were in, where you are now, and where would you like to be?
Okay. Obviously, you know, I'm born Muslim, right? I wasn't, you know, in touch with my religion in my younger years. In all honesty, and I have no qualms in being able to sort of speak about this, my thing on Islam or general knowledge didn't come from my father at all. It came from my mother. So, could it have been, you know, strongly sort of imposed on me at a younger age? Yes. I mean, because I was born in Birmingham, and I moved to Slough when I was 8. Before that, it was the case of after school, it was, you know, you have your cereal, your Cocoa Pops, and then you do your wudu and you'll get in a van, yeah, with like 10 other kids, right, and their feet stunk, right, because that's all I can remember, right, their feet smelling in that van. And, you know, we go to Green Lane Mosque, on Coventry Road. And it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours lesson there, Monday to Friday, and you know we'd get beats. You know, we would get beaten, man. I mean, if some of those Molanas were sort of around now, a lot of them, you know, we'd be doing jail time. But it was different back then. It was, you know, that was just old school, you know. But so it was instilled in me from my mum from a young age, and then. Obviously, growing up at school, you know, you'd kind of, you know, there was no mosque really. It was just, right, pray your Quran at home. There wasn't really no salah. Yeah, it was just Quran. That was it. And I think
it's not even reading Quran with understanding, is it? You're just
no. It was just the Arabic way. I was taught Quran like completely. I ain't gonna say wrong, but the pronunciation wasn't as the years have gone on, and that which you know with what gets taught to kids nowadays, like the way my children are doing it now, is completely different. I when they say and pronounce things, I'm like, what's that? Yeah. But the point is that growing up, it was a lot different. So it was just Quran. I didn't really have a someone to guide me as such. My mum would do it as best as possible with what she knew, but then the chances are that she was probably not doing it as right as, because she learned it from her country growing up, yeah. And I'm sure a lot of brothers or sisters in this day and age growing up now will probably appreciate the fact that the old school style wasn't exactly the right way.
Yeah.
You know, even maybe they were reading it wrong. So what hope did I have, right? So then it was, so growing up, it was just my mum having that influence on me reading Quran, and she, you know, it was like now and then she'll kind of check over it because she had stuff to do as a housewife.
Yeah.
But anyway, fast forward, let me think, a long time. And, you know, even when I was competing in MMA, whatever, it was just Eid. You go on Eid day, you'd pray Eid, you eat namaz, and it was like, right, where's the food?
Yeah.
You know, the appreciation of it. But even before that, say Ramadan, you know, you'd fast.
Yeah.
I would fast. I wouldn't keep all of them. You know, I was a naughty kid.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to say I would go in the morning, with the intentions of having fasted. I would go to school. Break time, I would eat crisps, lunch, drink. I would eat everything. Come back just before I get in home. I would just wipe my mouth, completely dry, have droopy eyelids. Come into the house like, you know what, I've had a hard fast, and then mum will put the food out, and then we'll eat with the family, you know. But that's what kids do. Kids who don't have, if you're not on top of kids, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's how my upbringing was when you're talking about spiritualism. I think the first time when it was Aki Zaman from First Reaction MMA. Yeah, he reached out to me. I'm trying to think what order this is in. Sorry, Khalid, not Aki. It was like not far after. Yeah, Khalid kind of, you know, got into contact with me. Khalid was like, you know, he watched one of my fights at Bama. He was like my only fan there. Fan. I'm gonna call him a fan because he was the only one who sat in a car and bought a ticket. Yeah, and Zubair, and we drove up to Birmingham, and I fought Dean Amersinger on Bama 4, and you know, he had like a. You know, he was growing his beard, and he was talking different to what I was used to.
Yeah.
What I was used to was being with the boys, speaking freely, openly, talking nonsense.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I've got a brother here who's humble. He looks pious, and he was kind of talking sense. And you'd have to like almost, you know, like when your uncles come behind, you go sit there like,
You're showing a little bit of
bit of respect. So
different,
we had to watch our P's and Q's in front of Khalid. And
still do.
yeah, of course. And but he was the first person who, out of all my friends circle, because he became a friend as well, was like, oh, you got to watch what you say in front of him. But then, not too long after, I think while I was still competing, Aki Zaman contacted me and sort of said, oh, Shah, I'd like to invite you down for my... Now he sort of said, oh, would you come down for a seminar? And I was like, yeah. I said, look, I'm in Birmingham maybe in a couple of weeks, I'll come down, you know, no problem. And he went, oh, how much money will you charge me? I went, no, don't worry about that. I love doing this. Right? So I'll happily show you guys. And he's like, what? He goes, are you sure? I said, yeah. And I turned up there and, you know, I could see all these brothers were religious. So I went into this gym and I was reading the writing on the wall. I was thinking, oh God, these guys are like, I got to cover up. I got to cover my tattoos up. I got to like, you know, I got to be humble here. And that was going back 7, 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
It's been about 8 years, 9 years. And I learned just by the way he was speaking, you know, his conduct, you know, even like when I first noticed to Khalid as well, there was a conduct with him, and then Aki, his conduct, and I thought, this is different. Yeah. And all along I was sort of saying, Zubair, you know, these brothers or whatever. And what part of me was like, you know what, if I go down to First Reaction MMA, right, I'm going to get busted, I am. Because they're going to think I'm Al-Qaeda, right? They're going to arrest me, and, you know, because it was very big then, you know, like any like terror groups and whatever. You know, I thought MI5 was spying, and all sorts, right?
Everyone's on the watch list. If you're
brown,
paranoid,
Pakistani, But what it was actually the typical like newspaper mentality I kind of had.
Yeah. They want to instill fear of you being religious, right? They want to take you away from it.
Yeah. So it was more. I mean, they would put that in the mainstream media to make out that all Muslims are like this. Yeah, and because of my circle of friends and people who I was with, or it was always like the joke of the terrorist, yeah, right? And I know it was all a joke or whatever. And I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that affected me or whatever. That's just a different circle of friends I have, yeah. And I laugh and joke back with them. But the fact of the matter is that it still played on my head, and I was thinking, oh man, I can't get too close. But what I realised is the more I was getting to know these brothers, going down and meeting other people, yeah, they were really, really nice, really, really humble. And with me, I was like, I've got tattoos and stuff, they'll probably judge me. And nothing. Absolutely nothing like that.
Yeah.
The most humblest guys I have ever come across. Good intentions, always giving good messages. And yeah, so they were the first, and then after that, it's just been, I personally, I kind of started praying more. I got a lot of education in those years from my wife, because that's another thing. My wife has also been a massive influence, because she's an alima. She's from Lahore. She teaches kids Quran, right, and has done for a long, long time, even in our house. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. And so she, I should have maybe mentioned her before. I hope she doesn't listen to this, because she's gonna point out the fact that you got that order wrong.
Yeah.
but I mean, these are the three people.
So you can correct it now.
These are the people who had that big influence on me. So I learned how to pray properly from my wife. Yeah. I also did my own research, and the influence of these brothers, made it a lot better. It made me feel like, this is your religion. This is something, you need to take seriously. The MMA, the look, whatever else you think is more important, this is important. And I felt so much more better within myself as well. When I would pray and whatever. No one's perfect, right?
Yeah.
I am still not perfect. I still make mistakes, but what happens to me now is when I don't pray, yeah, okay, let's just say you miss a salah or because of work or whatever, and you do your qaza after. It's not the same as praying on time. Yeah. You feel that it's at the back of your head. Oh, I've missed it. I've got to make it up, but it's not the same.
No.
That feeling. So for you to have,
it's like you missed the train.
Yes, you have to connect, right, in order to get that feeling. And when you think things are not happening, there's a reason for that. And if you can look back and think, well, what's missing? What haven't I maybe spent time doing? Yeah, okay, I've been praying, but did I open the Quran? Have I opened up the Quran recently?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Very easily done. And it happens. But I'm still learning. But again, the spiritual journey is ongoing. It was a lot more stronger for me in the last 8 years, I say now. And I'm so blessed to have met these people when I did. It really humbles you. It keeps you on the straight and narrow. We go off track, but it keeps you on the straight and narrow. And I'm really, really grateful for that. Alhamdulillah, 1,000 times over. And I can't complain, honestly. It's a beautiful feeling. I wish I had come across it a lot sooner. I'm not sure if that would have maybe changed some of my career pathways or whatever, but it would have. And also, let's not forget, like the likes of Khabib Nurmagomedov, who was a massive influence. He was the guy who taught fighters to come out and be proud of being a Muslim. And it was
showcasing a good example as well, because the media loves to push bad examples, right? They'll push this person or that person, and they're bad examples. So you might you see this person who the media is pushing up on the TV, and you might even feel ashamed that this is what they're representing in terms of Islam. But when Khabib comes, he's representing the better side of Islam, right? He's representing the manners, the morals, and this is what you're saying about the brothers as well. Well mannered, and it's your akhlaq, your manners that we're which if your manners are not in the right place, then you're not
Yes.
following the religion correctly.
Yeah. I mean, even like in my early fights, this is even before Khabib come on the scene.
Yeah.
I feel so old, yeah. Right, it's just the one thing I would always do, before I fought, from my first fight through to my last fight, I will always say my prayer. I will raise my hands in the cage beforehand. I will say my prayer, and that came from Muhammad Ali, because he was the one for everyone before that.
Yeah.
No matter who you were, whether it was Mike Tyson or him, they're the big influences when it came to that. But Khabib literally brought that thing out of, listen, you're a fighter, you're a Muslim, be proud. And you know what, that blew up all over the world, that did. And you saw so many more Muslims embrace that, and he's a beautiful example of it. And yeah, I hope the youngsters of today look at him as a great role model for that.
Yeah, I think one of the points that you made that's very important as well is it's not about perfecting, or it's not about perfection, it's about progress. As long as you're progressing on your spiritual journey, you're not taking steps backwards, you're heading in the right direction. Allah does not want perfection from you, He wants progress. So definitely one of the points to...
So it's the intentions as well, right?
Yeah, your intentions as well, renewing your intentions. Actually, one of the things you speak about, Aki, one of the things that I learned from Aki as well is renewing your intentions. We were on a trip recently, we're going to talk about that later, and he was constantly reminding us every day to remember why we're there, what we're doing what we're doing, and what our intentions are, because you'll get judged on your intentions, not necessarily your actions.
Yeah, he's like my sheikh. He's.
Yeah.
Anytime I have any questions to do with Islam, if I'm not sure about, because I don't really trust Google.
No.
Yeah. So I will always call Aki, or I'll message him. I say, Aki, I want to know about this. Yeah. And then he's gone to the degree where he's called up sheikhs and Molanas in Egypt and all around the world just to get me my answer. And that's what I love about the guy. It's like, there's no more, you can't get any more authentic than him.
Yeah.
So he's my man when it comes to that sort of stuff.
Yeah, he's a good character.
Yeah.
He's a good character. Thank you for that, Shah. I think that was really insightful there. We're all over the place. I'm gonna take you back back again now. What was the point that you say that you drew the line with MMA? This was your point. This is when you retired, and do you have any regrets in your MMA career? I know you said that you don't have any regrets generally, but is there anything you would have done differently, maybe?
Okay, so what was the first part again? You said
where did you draw the line in terms of your retirement with your MMA
Okay,
career?
yeah. I always said I will retire before 40, and I did that. I wanted to carry on because when I see the likes of Randy Couture and a few of these older fighters, who the guy, oh man, yeah.
You got excited when he won.
I mean, like you said, when these guys are still fighting, and Glover Teixeira is 42 years old, he's the same age as me.
Yeah.
And I look at that and I think, one more fight, man, come on. But reality is, as I said, as I carried on competing, towards the end, I was getting so many more injuries. And what kind of woke me up was when I was in Thailand, just before I fought UFC veteran John Maguire. I was in Thailand by myself. I was only out there for 2 weeks. And whereas before I've trained out there, I was training 2-3 times because the weather's beautiful, the food is great, it's all clean food. I was getting through the sessions, no problem. What I realised was I was struggling to get 2 sessions in a day at Phuket Top Team. And that made me think, you know what? And I was out there, and even though I was out there by myself, I've been out to Thailand by myself. I've been out there 7 times in total, and I've lived out there as well myself. And I've done it no problem before. It's not been an issue whatsoever. This time, I was on the phone to everyone at home, because I was just bored. I was just like aching, bored, sitting, going and eating by myself. Well, there was a few people who you see at this. Phuket Top Team, you sit there, you talk away to them or whatever, but my wife was sick of me. She's like, why do you keep bringing home? I'm like, and you know what, that, and then also not being able to recover in between fights, in between like training sessions even, right, was, I started to question myself. I started thinking, my body is slowing down now.
Yeah.
The recovery isn't there now, and yeah, man, that was when it's the first time it kind of got in my head, like, you know what? And then 2 fights later, I then retired because it was the same thing. It was just injuries. I was going into fights injured, and that was at the back of my head. So I couldn't perform to my maximum capability.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? I think now it's time to maybe finish up. I said I wanted to do it before I was 40. I got more and more grey as the years have gone on, so I looked older than 40, right? So I thought, you know what? I've battered my body. I've been in wars. I've trained with animals. Yeah, maybe now, and I just didn't have that. I ain't gonna say I didn't have that. There's a fire to compete. Yeah, there's that thing, but it became like a process. It's like, oh, okay, I've got to do that again.
Yeah.
And then at
you
that
weren't
time,
enjoying it as much, would you say?
I wasn't enjoying it as much. It's the truth. It was, and then I think right towards the end, the injuries started taking their toll, and also, the thing of at home, I've got young kids, and yeah, it was a combination of things. But ultimately, you know what? I think I retired at the right time. You know? It was probably not under the best circumstances, meaning you want to come off a win or a few wins or whatever. I think the last 2 fights I had were losses, but you know what? It's when I finished up or whatever, I didn't, It's for me it was sad, but yeah, it was just it was just that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, you got to listen to your body.
Yeah, you have to. And then if you don't listen to your body, because your mind says, yeah, do it, right? But you have to listen to the body. They both have to connect. And if one doesn't connect with the other, right, you're going to get hurt. And this isn't the sort of game which you want to be going in 50%.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the probability comes down even more when you have to go in and you're carrying an injury, thinking, oh, you know what, I don't want to throw that too much because
psychologically you're holding back as well.
Yeah. So then, mentally, how prepared are you for that fight?
Yeah, but you've seemed to kind of found your feet in a new career as well now. So do you miss the fighting, or do you wanna?
I missed the fighting badly. This last session where I take my class Wednesday, I got my gloves on. I smashed pads, and that felt amazing. Just to hit pads, after a long time. I then took it further and sparred with the boys. Yeah, I got 3 rounds in, and I was just sat out. I was gassed. Yeah, I had done nothing for God knows how many years. Well, not last 3 years even.
Being
that's
in COVID and stuff as well.
Yeah, that was my second spar in 3 years.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I did 3 rounds, and I thought, you know what? Nah, I need to get fitter again. But I'm gonna carry on sparring. I'm going to start getting my gloves out, and I'm going to start sparring with the guys because I miss it. I miss it. So yeah, answering your question, I do miss it. I do still watch the UFC, fights. I catch up on them if I can't watch them live. I keep an eye on what everyone's doing, whether it's here in Pakistan or in general, just fighters on the circuit who maybe used to still fight when I was fighting. So I'm still very much interested, with the scene.
So you found kind of a bit of a balance and a compromise now. You're not competing, but you're still enjoying the sport, the training, being in the circle.
Yeah, I'm still, like I said, I'm still training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a 2-tab brown belt now, so I'm still training Jiu-Jitsu. Probably not as much as I did before, but I'm back on it again now.
Yeah.
So I'm still doing martial arts. It's part of my life, and it will continue to be. I'm still kind of coaching, still. Trying to guide young fighters as to what to do. I'm still doing fight commentary. So I'm any shows that sort of want me. I still do fight commentary. It's still involved.
Yeah, it's still involved, definitely. The coaching side.
Yeah. So as long as you're still kind of in there, it's. I think for me that's relevant enough. Yeah.
So moving on from kind of your fight career, you're now kind of testing the tide, testing the waters with acting. We've kind of touched on it briefly. We just mentioned it. So, kind of give us a little bit of insight on how you kind of came about acting, why acting, and once you kind of go down, then I've got another question I'm going to throw your way.
Okay, all right. So the acting side was, there's a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, Sami Kareem, you know,
Yes.
he's also a personal trainer, fitness guy. And he's always kind of done acting. He's been a professional actor for about 15 years now, I think it is. And it was always taught with him because he used to attend my class. And I always said, oh, Sammy, do you think I could do it? And he'd say, yeah, sure, you should give it a go. But there was no other conversation on it. It was only during lockdown that when everything was shut down, I was off work as well. And I just happened to speak to Sammy again just by chance. And I had a lot of time on my hands because obviously after competing, training, you know, and competing in pro MMA, I was a bit lost in terms of what I wanted to do. So that same intensity of training and the buzz of competition, that I couldn't find it anywhere else.
Yeah.
But when I spoke to Sammy, you know, he sort of mentioned the acting thing. And then I sort of said, okay, all he said was research the industry. So I researched the industry and I found out that I learned a lot from it just by being online and just having a look at, you know, different people's opinions and whatever not. Then I signed up to an online acting course, which was like a 6-week course based on understanding Stanislavski. And Stanislavski is like the godfather of acting. You know, he's a Russian guy. And anyway, it was a 6-week course, 1 day a week. I did that, got my certificate, and then I jumped onto a 3-year acting course and with the Acting Academy. So I've now been a student of theirs for about 1.5 years now. Mm-hmm. So I'm halfway through the course. And again, you know, a lot of that's based on online stuff. It's homework based. You know, there's a lot of homework, you know, which I have to hand in and submit.
Mm-hmm. It's like being back at uni again.
Well, it is, but it's not that intense because, you know, you do your lessons, you do the homework, and you hand it in when you can.
Yeah.
So, which I've been doing. Not as much lately because I've been busy acting. But the point is, I jumped onto a course.
Yeah.
And then I had to get some showreel stuff together, so I did a screen acting course at Pinewood Studios with the Actors Studio, and with a guy called Tim Kent, who's a director. And I filmed a couple of scenes there. And it's just literally to put together some material of me acting, and so which can be put out there to potential casting directors and whatever else, you know.
So you got your portfolio ready.
Yeah.
You're learning more about the industry. You're increasing your skills.
Yeah.
And you've got quite far, you know. I mean, Shah was on a movie. I was actually watching this movie the other night with my missus, and then Shah kind of put it on his WhatsApp on his WhatsApp story, and I saw it. I was like, wait, he was in the movie. It was Red Notice on Netflix. The Rock's in it and stuff. And Shah's, you can see him dragging Ed Sheeran off stage. So you're progressing quite well in the industry. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask you is, being in the acting industry, being a Muslim in the acting industry, how are you finding it? First, like, how are you finding it? And second, how are you progressing without necessarily compromising your religion in any way?
Okay, it's very difficult. Acting is. It's very testing. You got to put a lot of effort into it. So, which is what I've done. As you said, the progression has been crazy within a year of me doing it. And I've done so much within the space of a year that some people, when they look at it, they're like, how were you that busy?
It's that MMA mentality.
It's that. It's just that the thing of, my thing is, you know what? If you're going to do something, you want to do it to the best capability as possible. Don't care what people think. Just do what you think is right, and obviously with the right intentions. Mm-hmm. And that's how I did it. I approached it that way, and alhamdulillah, now things are happening for me, you know, on that level. So yes, that's how it kind of happened. Yeah. Your second question was about how do you participate, or how do you partake acting without compromising your religion, right? Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward for me because there's 2 things which I sort of said, 3 things, which I was a bit like, you know what? These are the things I will draw a line under. Obviously, nudity. Mm-hmm. Gambling and alcohol. Yeah. So that was already going to be within the mix. Yeah. You know. So I said that's something which I'm not going to do. And I kind of like I've made that clear to my agents as well. And yeah, because I think I got asked to do a commercial for I think it might have been a gambling advert or something. I said, look, you know what, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to put your name.
There's some things I don't want to do. Mm-hmm. they didn't ask me anything. It's just a personal preference. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that don't want to do nude stuff.
Yeah.
Men, women of all colours and religions or whatever. There's nothing. There's nothing. That's personal choice.
Yeah.
But it's no biggie. Yeah. So that's something I won't do. And
It's not like every actor does that. You know, it's the requirement for being an actor. You have to do a nude scene. It's nothing like that.
No. It's not like that. These are all myths.
Yeah.
No, it's not. You know, you get different people have got different opinions on it. My opinion is if you've got the right guidance, if you're clued on, if you know what's right and wrong, what more is there? You know,
check your intentions.
Of course, exactly. Like you said, it's about your intentions. No one can force you to do anything. You know, it's not like you will be. You know, and people aren't vulnerable either.
Yeah.
People know what's right and wrong, man. That's what we need to establish here. And
Deep
I know,
down, people will know.
Of course
you get
they
a
do.
feeling. You got feeling.
you
in
know,
your mind, back of your head.
yeah. I mean, there's like there was a scene which I did, which entailed. I think it was working as a hostage holder, where I was dressed in like Taliban style and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, a gunman, and then I boot a guy into the cell and I say something in Arabic to him, or whatever. But then I think in a previous scene to that, they were like, "Oh, if you can, serve him alcohol." I said, "I'm not doing that." Yeah, so it became something else.
Yeah.
But I told them that beforehand. But they loved the profile. They loved the question of why I didn't want to do it, whatever. And they said, "You know what, Shaw? We totally respect that. We can work around that."
Yeah.
Yeah. Some directors and writers are like, "No, let's get another actor who's going to do it the way we do it." Because some screenwriters are very play.
Yeah.
That's one of the golden rules in acting.
You're the chess piece on the board.
Yeah, you can't even change lines without them asking them. But so it's it's doable. You can work around. If they like you, they'll do whatever you want. This is when you get actors who are like prima donnas. You're trying to tell me that every actor, whether it's a medium riser or an A-lister, right? They've got their qualms. They'll say what they want to do, what they don't want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hardest part is getting the job. When you get the job, the ball's in your court.
Yeah.
Unless you're like totally unprofessional, you can say, "Look, I'm not comfortable with this," or "Oh, I don't want to do this," and anything to do with the deen is beautiful.
Yeah, I think that what we can take from that as well is when you do something for Allah, Allah will make things easier for you. Yeah. He's going to open doors for you. So you make a stand for Him, He's going to make a stand for you as well.
That's right.
And you can hold faith in that.
Yeah.
So now I want to move on. You mentioned Saladin Ayyubi. Obviously, he was one of two Muslim conquerors or Muslim warriors to conquer Jerusalem. So speaking of Jerusalem, you've been to Jerusalem. You visited Masjid Al-Aqsa, and I actually went recently myself with your friend Aki Zaman. He was there with us as well. He made the trip, very special, very entertaining. Let's talk a little bit about Al-Aqsa. What did you going there was like for me personally, I haven't been on Hajj or Umrah yet as well, so that was kind of like my first religious pilgrimage. So when I got there, it was like I felt like a spiritual shock almost when I saw Dome of the Rock, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and when I prayed there, I was having like a massive, profound effect on me. The energy in the air in the place was different. Let's kind of delve into a little bit of what your experience was like when you went there.
Yeah. Masjid Al-Aqsa for me was, I knew because of Aki Zaman going there, and it was going with the group. Obviously, I only knew one or two people in that group. And I thought, okay, as long as he's going, because he's my mate.
Yeah, right? He's been a few times, like 4 or 5 times now.
He's been a few times. But I had already gone to one retreat with him, with a group of guys in Spain, at the Andalusius. Yeah, so we went there, and that has got a big Islamic history there as well.
Yeah.
It's never been put in the history books, as in you never got taught it in school.
No.
But I learned a lot there. So the experience of going away with Aki again was just too hard to refuse. And throw into the fact that it was Ramadan as well, and it was Masjid Al-Aqsa, right? So I went in the last 10 days of Ramadan. Right?
Oh, wow.
And I did Eid out there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I can say now that I was advised, Shah, on the day we go, don't fast. Yeah, because it's going to be very difficult. You don't want to lose your temper, and you don't want to be doing that under the. There was a lot of people who didn't fast on that trip when we went, just for that one day,
Yeah.
right? Because it was going to be, you want to get tested.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to drop one fast and keep 29, right?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. So I fasted, and I was hungry, and I was there, and we got treated bad at the airport.
Yeah.
We got held. Some people got in, some people didn't. I was in the waiting area, and the funny thing is, there was people there who looked European, but that the name on the passport, the look didn't look like their name.
Yeah.
So they were like Muslims, but of a different descent. And you think obviously if you've got someone dressed up or whatever, right, they're going to get highlighted straight away. But they were literally targeting anyone with a Muslim passport.
Muslim name, yeah.
Yeah. And it was very tough. And I opened my fast at the airport there, eating cheese sandwich, right, and just drinking water. It was a great feeling when we finally got on there. But listen, overall, it was probably the best experience of my life.
Yeah.
Again, like you just said, there was some not nice parts to the trip, like checkpoints every few hundred meters. I was seeing, Jews being able to celebrate openly and rub it in the Arabs' faces, and they were getting like a bit of an escort from the, EDF or wherever they are.
There's open discrimination
Open,
there. I mean,
yeah,
some of the
yeah.
things that I learned while I was there, crazy. Like, just for example, in Palestinian settlements, they're not allowed to renovate their homes without the permission of the Israeli government. And guess what? They never get permission. So it's very, very obvious and blatant when you're walking through a Palestinian settlement, and then when you walk through a Jewish settlement. So in Masjid Al-Aqsa compound, it's surrounded by 4 quarters. You have an Armenian quarter, Christian quarter, Muslim quarter, and Jewish quarter. Did you go for a walk around there?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
What did you see?
We couldn't get through to the Jewish quarter. I couldn't get anywhere near the Wailing Wall.
Yeah.
That was a no-go.
Oh, they had that locked off. Okay.
Yeah, Christian quarter was good. We went there. I saw, what I saw there, which was really nice. Obviously, Muslim quarter, it goes without saying. I went I saw the graveyards of where the Muslims were buried, and right opposite you could see the graveyards of where the Jews were buried.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's all relevant.
2 sides of a mountain, basically.
That's right, exactly.
And
we went to some excursions. We went to I went to the what's his name? The artist. Banksy's hotel.
Yes.
Yeah, I went to the hotel there. Took a lot of pictures in there. Banksy's museum is in the hotel as well. Which is absolutely amazing. And look, you know what? As soon as Ramadan had finished, I mean the first Jummah. No, there was a Jummah. The last Jummah of Ramadan, there was about I can't remember how many hundreds of thousands of Muslims there, right? Because it was the last Jummah.
Yeah.
And on Eid day, they said there was 1 million Muslims in Masjid Al-Aqsa.
Man, that's crazy. And that compound's big as well.
It's big. Yeah, it is, and it was hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hot when we went. Trying to get shade anywhere you could pray or put your head down was a big thing.
There's no shade there.
Yeah, exactly. But
you have a few trees and stuff. But,
and then I think the saddest thing was obviously not just the fact that it's your own lands. Yeah, yet there's a power there that shouldn't be there, right, which doesn't belong. They don't belong there. No matter which way you look at it. But again, certain things of it was as soon as Eid had finished. Ramadan had finished. On Eid day, after Eid, it was a ghost town.
Yeah.
There was no one in Masjid Al-Aqsa, and that was really, really sad to see, considering it had been so busy throughout Ramadan. Just the energy there, the prayers that were happening there, It was beautiful. It was probably the most beautifulest time I have not been to Umrah or Hajj.
Okay.
Yeah, this for me was probably the next best thing. I'd say as close to that sort of experience.
Yeah.
Which
it has its own kind of special touch, but I see what you mean. Kind of the next best thing to that experience.
It's going to be the next best thing to that. But just being there with good company, eating good food, and it was beautiful. And I can't wait to go again. And again, as Aki probably told you, the message to give is not talk about the problems and the issues which you have getting there or experienced. It's the fact that you got there.
It's 1% of the whole trip. Like, as in, we had the same situation. We were held up at the airport for hours when we landed.
Yeah.
And when we were leaving the country, we were held. They searched everything thoroughly. Not everything, but everything thoroughly. And they made it really difficult. They want to make you leave with a bad taste in your mouth, so you don't want to come back. But the trick is that you do come back and you make it clear to them that you're not going to put us off from visiting our Palestinian brothers. The treatment that they gave me, it was like how the Israelis treated me and how the Palestinians treated me. It just made it insignificant how they treated me, because the amount of love, how humble the brothers are there, and they bring you back to ground as well, because we can get lost living in this Western world. We have a lot of luxuries that we don't realize are luxuries. But when you go and see how these people are living, how humble they are, and how it's crazy how they have not even 10% of the things we have in our life, yet they're 150% happier than us and more thankful to Allah than us. So it's just such a heartwarming trip. And
it was beautiful.
And the Palestinians need your support there as well. It makes them so happy when they see tourists. When we went, we were the first tourists to go there after 2 years because of COVID. And every alley that I walked down, every shop that I walked past, every time I went to pray, I had people coming and asking me where I was from. They hadn't seen anyone in 2 years. And they have a very nice saying there. They always say, "Welcome home." They'll be like, "Welcome home. This is your home. Welcome."
It's true. It's true. It's our lands. That's why we shouldn't tell people, "Oh, this, that," because it's to put people off. Like you said, we want to encourage them. And wholeheartedly, I'm definitely going to be going back again. As a matter of fact, Aki's man was messaging me today saying, he said, "You know what, Shah?" He goes, "This morning before Fajr, I woke up, I had a dream that me and you were in Palestine again." And just for him saying that, it was just made me so happy. And I said, "You know what, let's do it." And he goes, "Yeah, let's do it." Because I think our next trip, inshallah, is going to be to go to Jordan. Because he's been telling me about that place and that there's a lot of prominent Sahabas buried in the sticks somewhere. But I can be on water and just be in a hot car sweating with him, just going there, just to get that experience. And then obviously the next idea would be to get across the bridge to get to Palestine, because obviously the border each other. So
I think Jordan was actually part of Palestine previously as well.
So you know what, inshallah, I'm really looking forward to it. And again, you know what, for me that's getting away from everything, and just being back in touch with my spirituality again.
It's
being
like a
around.
refresher.
It's amazing, honestly. It's a lot easier to sort of be in touch with your spirituality when you're in a Muslim country. Because it's there, it's in your face. You're surrounded by it. There's no excuses.
Definitely.
But you know what? It's like I said, it's our own jihad. And it's our own battle, and we have to see it through no matter what happens, and come out being as best of Muslims as we can with the best of intentions.
I think the takeaway point about Jerusalem, Israel, Palestine, the whole thing is taking the time and taking advantage of the opportunity and trying to actually go and visit the place. I definitely know that I want to go again. Shah's already talking about going again. We have brothers that have been multiple times, and the media will portray, a kind of a war-ridden country with a lot of violence and stuff like that. But when you go there, there's no immediate violence or war that's happening blatantly in front of you. And I felt quite safe when I was there. I felt, obviously Allah has invited us there. We have all the Palestinian brothers with us there. Felt quite safe. And I think making that trip out there, Al-Aqsa is not going to be with us forever. And that is a reality that we're going to have to probably live with as well. So making the intention to go there, visit the people there, show support to them, maybe do a fundraising and go and help them. That's the best way that you can help them. And definitely, it will put life under a magnifying glass for you as well. And you'll come out, hopefully, a better person and a better Muslim on the other side.
See, on that note, I just want to add in, the morning I went really early. I drove to Luton Airport to get my flight. But what I did was, I went across. I went to my parents' house, and I knew my mum was going to be up for Fajr. So I went in. I said, "Mum," and she looked at me like, "Is everything okay?" I mean, Mum, I just want to tell you, I'm going to Palestine. The look on her face, was like, "What?" Because she's just seeing what happens out there on the news.
Yeah.
I said, Mum, don't worry, I'll be safe, I'll call you every day. Well, but she was in shock.
Yeah.
And that's the image with what you said. You need to kind of eradicate, you need to get that out, you need to get that out of people's minds. It's fear mongering, it's what's being fed, and it's not the reality of what it is. It's bad, yes, don't get me wrong, but
the situation is
yes,
bad.
but we can make it better.
Definitely.
And that's important.
The media will show you a snapshot, but you want to go and see the whole thing for yourself.
Yeah.
So Shah, from popular request, I have a few quick fire questions. Those just got thrown in the group chat. I had to get rid of some of them I kept. So I'm just going to give them out, and you just pick one. Cool?
Cool.
All right. Grappling, striking.
Grappling.
Armbar, triangle.
Triangle, because you can put the armbar on from there.
All right. Fighting or acting?
Oh, fighting.
Fighting. All right. Put that in his portfolio. Now, legacy or money?
Legacy.
Legacy. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
To be honest, this one's a little bit of a trick question. Deen or dunya?
Deen or dunya? It's got to be Deen.
Yeah. So you didn't always have a beard. So beard or no beard? Do you prefer?
A trimmed down beard.
Trimmed down beard. Cool. Ferrari or Lamborghini?
Lamborghini.
Do you prefer eating with a fork or a spoon?
Neither. I prefer my hands. It's sunnah.
Sunnah. Yeah. In fact, it's a hadith that there's going to come a time where people are eating their food with metal utensils. Check that out.
Okay.
So that's what we do now. Automatic or manual?
Automatic.
Love versus money. Would you rather have everyone's love, or would you rather have shit ton of money?
I'd rather have everyone's money. No, love everyone's love, of course, yeah.
Okay. Would you rather have more time or more money?
More time.
More time.
Yeah.
Would you rather go back in time or go into the future?
Go back in time.
Go back in time. And the last one, do you prefer roti or do you prefer rice?
It's got to be roti, man. It's got to be the roti. Yeah, I'm Pakistani.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some Bangladeshi friends who may choose rice, but I'm a roti man.
Yeah, you're a flatbread type of guy. All right. Well, thank you so much, Shah. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you in this kind of informal setting. Honestly, I think you got a lot of amazing insight on a lot of different topics in life, and there's a lot that people can learn from you as well. And I'd just like to give a shout out to our cameraman, all our coaches here at Blackbeard, and to our sponsor, AWCI. Check them out for all your commercial interior contracting needs. Real professionals. Thank you so much, Shah, and hopefully I'll catch you on the mats
Thank
this week.
you for having me, Hamza. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Take care.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.